I think it's sort of two answers to that, Anne. The first, just to reinforce your commentary, this is not new, but it hasn't been accessible. So thank you, Moore's Law, the cost of embedded compute halves every 2 years. So the kind of technology we used to put into an expensive piece of equipment in a factory, you can now put into your doorknob or your light bulb. And ubiquitous connectivity, Wi-Fi, cellular, et cetera, lots of connectivity there, you can rent cloud compute, right? It's the service now, you don't need to buy a pile of servers and go do it. So the plumbing pieces are there. There are a couple of gaps which we may talk to later on security and interoperability and analytics. But in terms, Anne, of where we would focus, so my first answer would be take all that capability and just put it in place and wait for smart kids usually. Wait for smart people to go deploy it. Don't constrain it. Allow it, the plumbing to deliver whatever it does. The second answer, briefly, you're right. There are places. If we allow everything and we don't bring our competencies together, we're probably missing an opportunity. And certainly, Brian talked about the aging phenomenon and the opportunity we have here. So that is a focus area. We've got smart city implementations in Dublin. Another advantage of our small size, fast pace. You can meet government ministers, presidents of universities, and all of us citizens and businesses, $200 billion of foreign direct investment, brilliant small and medium enterprises. We can bring them together and deploy those solutions just like we saw with a relatively small Irish company engaging with an enormous multinational because of the network within Ireland and the ability to move fast.
I agree with Philip that we don't know where the next big thing is going to come from. There are whole new areas, and because it's getting cheaper, everybody can really get themselves involved in this area. But for me, there are areas where we have a natural advantage. And one of the problems with smart cities, and I do agree with implementing smart cities, is Barcelona has a smart city, Amsterdam has a smart city. So if you look at Ireland and say, what can we do? Well, we're one of the largest ICT centres in the world, but our real natural resource is in agriculture. And Europe now is the cap, they're removing the cap. There's an opportunity for major growth. And the big debate globally is food and food security. So like we have, something like 90% or 96% of our land is not built on. I know most of you have forgotten what rain is like, but we have a lot of rain and we have a very green country. And in terms of agriculture, particularly in the dairy industry, this is a natural country for dairy. So one of the areas I feel that we need to focus in on in Ireland is dairy, precision dairy, agriculture in general, but particularly precision dairy, because we can feed the world by combining our expertise in agriculture and expertise in ICT. I mean, if I ask you, what are the big billion-dollar companies in Ireland? Most of them are in agriculture.
For me, the Internet of Things is so fundamental and so potentially disruptive and a complete step change in terms of the landscape for technology, not just within Ireland, but globally. I mean, I put it to you, you wouldn't envisage a world in which you consider yourself as an individual and whereby you would not communicate or collaborate in an opportunistic way with your fellow citizens that inhabit this planet. So the world whereby we consider things as being islands that perform an exclusive and singular function, whereby they do not have any recourse to interact with or seek information from other devices, is for me is fundamentally archaic and it is completely illogical. So we're not moving to a situation whereby we have got connectivity across screens. We're not moving to a situation whereby we've got connectivity of people, albeit with very, very large Darwinian oversized thumbs, but rather we're going to have connectivity of everything. That there's opportunistic collaboration, there are collaboration across traditional siloized sectoral boundaries, And a lot of this maintenance of this infrastructure has to occur in an ambient, seamless manner.
We always had very clever technology. It's just that it was incredibly expensive. So traditionally, we would have applied the biggest technology at our high voltage levels, at our transmission levels, and we could do very clever things with that network. But the big revolution now is that it's now becoming affordable to deploy that technology right down, embedded very, very far down into the distribution network. And that's the big concern for me as a network operator. I've got 2.2 million customers connected to my distribution system. And the big measure that they want is continuity of supply. They want good voltage, they want a clean voltage, but they want it available to them 99.99% of the time. And technology is enabling me to bring huge benefit in that space. But it's because it's getting cheaper, and I'm able to embed it further and further into the distribution system.